Want to throw it in the back seat or Michael?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to throw it in the back seat or the hatch or?
Nice little ride.
Hey, not a problem. You heading to the ammo?
Yes. How's your day going so far?
It's going.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be super duper busy, but it's a Sunday.
Yeah. Coming and going.
Oh yeah. I can't believe that guy drove an RV through terminal pickup.
Oh my gosh, I know. Surprised he was allowed to.
He's gutsy. That's what he is. He's gutsy. So you flying in for one of the conventions this week, or?
Yeah, one of the food safety
Okay.
conventions. Hopefully you'll get some business out of that.
So a food safety convention.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. What is it? I don't even know what I'm doing yet. So
Could be anything.
could be anything.
Fair enough.
But I think it's one of the big food safety organizations. First time to Grand Rapids though. It's pretty from the sky.
Oh yeah. Well, welcome to Grand Rapids. If you drink beer, there's plenty of beer to drink.
That's what I hear. You got any favorite spots?
Well, some of the best spots to visit, like if you're into trying out like custom brews, I would recommend Founders.
Yep.
That's that's a given. They've got their own distribution, obviously, and
Founders is big, and
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do dinner there tomorrow.
yeah, it's a nice place. It's a very, very nice place.
Any little spots around? Any
Like a dive bar?
Yeah.
There's a couple of them. If you're looking for a true to form dive bar, it's called the Anchor Bar,
Okay.
and it's about 1 mile from the Amway.
Okay.
It's kind of right around the corner, and it's right next to a building called New Holland Brewery, or the
Okay.
Knickerbocker is what they
Yeah,
call it
yeah.
now. But in Holland, it's called New Holland Brewery.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
original one. But yeah, so the Anchor Bar, I mean, they're very dive bar-ish, and they play a lot of rock and country at their bar.
Okay.
Not a big dance scene, so
Yeah, good.
if you want the dance clubs, they've got a couple of those. They've got
Not really. I need a low key, man.
all right.
Drink a couple of good beers.
All right,
Nothing
well, there
too
you go.
crazy.
And if you're a big fan of steak, right across the street from the Amway, like 100 feet diagonal to your left, like if you're looking out the front door, it's called the Chop House.
Okay.
If you've ever been to Gibson's in Chicago,
Yeah.
it's almost an exact replica.
Okay. Same owners?
Not the same owners, no. Just very, very similar format, and really great steak. And
Nice.
obviously, you can buy beer there as well.
Okay.
So, and if you're a chili kind of guy, I would personally recommend Z's Bar and Grill. It's across from the JW. It's they have the best year-round chili I've ever had in my life.
Really?
And I've had a lot of different chilies, and theirs is very good. And they've got some decent steak too, but they have a lot of more variety of like bar food. So
Yeah.
you got like salted pretzels, the normal peanuts, and all that good stuff. And mozzarella sticks, but their chili at Z's Bar and Grill is very good. And then, like I said, the Chop House is definitely for the steak lovers. But what else?
How many breweries are in like the immediate Grand Rapids?
Let's see. There's at least 5 large breweries.
Okay.
Because there's Founders, and New Holland Brewery is considered a brewery. God, now I'm drawing a blank here. Let's see, there's the Vivant, which has their own brewery in it. It's a very small brewery, though.
See, I love the little small guys.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, like I'm more of a dive bar kind of guy myself.
Yeah.
And so like if my girlfriend and I ever go out, we don't go to like Founders. I mean, although they have great food and really good beers, like when I go out to a bar, I just get like a Bud Light. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, and we go to some dive bar, and it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of the larger breweries, you know, they have a very large foot crowd, and so
they're good. I mean, they're you know.
Yeah, I mean they've got to do business, and that's a good thing that they're doing business.
Polished, bringing tourist dollars.
Oh yeah. Well, just a couple of weeks ago, they did Founders Fest, which is it's kind of like the B93 bash type thing, and they play music and get to sample drinks, and that was very busy downtown. But like right now,
were you working that day?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I worked like an 18-hour day that day. It was a long night, but it was well worth it. The dividends paid very well that night. So
nice.
But then later on that night, I ended up I did like the sketchiest ride in the world for 4 college kids. Took them on a 175-mile round trip.
What?
Yeah, 2 different stops, and at one of the stops they added 2 additional people to the ride, and then at the next stop they got rid of their backpacks and the 2 friends that they had picked up. So I was like, oh, I was like, this is not a drug deal at all.
Yeah, definitely not.
And the price that they paid, there was no way they were selling pot. Like,
yeah,
I was like, nope, that's not pot. I was like, no, that's something else. And I told them, I was like, guys, I got 4 kids at home. I was like, I ain't got time for that. I was like, so if we get pulled over, I was like, I'm gonna whoop all your asses in front of the cop. I was like, he's gonna send me on my way. I was like, and then you guys are gonna be up shit creek.
What did they say?
They were like, well, there's 4 of us. I was like, yeah. I was like, I took Division 2 in high school. I was like, I'm good. And they kind of looked at me. They're like, but you're so small. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I am. I was like, I'm not a very large guy. I was like, but I'll tell you what. I was like, you get me angry enough, I can flip a car. You know,
did they behave?
Well, they behaved themselves, thank God.
Yeah.
But you know, like the thing is, there was when we went to the first stop, and I was getting gas. The gas station attendant asked me, he goes, well, hey man, are you an Uber driver? And I was like, yeah, why? And he goes, dude, there's been 3 of you up here this week with those same 2 dudes.
Oh, really?
And I was like, all right. So then, you know, the wheels kind of start turning a little bit. So we pick up, they come back with their 2 other friends and 2 more backpacks, and I was like, all right, something's up. And I was like, all right, so we're going back to Grand Rapids, right? And they're like, oh, no, we got 1 more stop. And I was like, okay, where are we going? And they're like, oh, Muskegon. And I was like, where at Muskegon? And they're like, corner of Laketon and Seaway Drive. Now, there's multiple parts to Muskegon, kind of like Grand Rapids, there's multiple parts to it. The area they wanted to go to is considered Muskegon Heights, which is 20 years ago, it's a really nice area. Now, not so much. About 2 months ago, a carload of white dudes rolled up to a gas station and got shot to death. So it's a little sketchy, and there's a lot of drug activity that happens in that area.
Yeah.
And so they were going to that gas station. Well, I had called my girlfriend when we got there, and I was like, if I'm not home in like an hour and a half, report the car stolen.
Yep.
You know, and she's like, Ryan, I told her what was going on. She's like,
oh my God.
She's like, holy shit. And I was like, yeah. I was like, super fun. So when they finally came back about 15 minutes.
And like, what else are you going to do at that point?
Right, you know, and I mean, I could have been like, all right, guys, we got to end this ride. But whatever they were moving, like I said, it wasn't pot. Yeah. So it was something much heavier. Yeah. And for all I know, they could have had a weapon.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not trying to get shot at or stabbed.
You just want to go home to your family.
Right. Like, that was my thing. Like, after I dropped him off, I was like, I'm just relieved that I get to go home.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I made $400 on the trip. That was great because he paid Uber almost $700. You know, so like I said, he wasn't moving pot because ain't nobody gonna take that expensive of an Uber for pot, especially when you could like go down the street and buy it from like the neighbor kid.
So what? I mean, in that case, can you
You
can
can.
report that to Uber or just like
I did. I submitted a report with Uber about it, and I was like, hey, look, I was like, I can't confirm what they had in there because I didn't ask. I was like, but I didn't want to know.
Yeah.
And then,
hopefully you won't get matched up with.
well, right, and that's what they said. They were like, we won't match up with them again. And I was like, well, that's like the thing is, I was like, you know, that's putting a driver's livelihood at risk.
Yeah.
Because our vehicle is our livelihood.
Yeah.
We get pulled over. You know, it's up to the cop's discretion at that point. He can be like, all right, you're an Uber driver, you didn't know, or he can be like, well, hey, you should have checked your bags before they got in. You know, and it's just kind of, it's a real gray area that you have to make like that moral decision.
Real cop would. I mean, if they know you're driving for Uber, they're gonna. But I mean, that's sketch to like you don't want
Right.
anyone else to have to go through.
Right, exactly.
And clearly, other Uber drivers have been doing that.
Yeah,
even
and,
at the gas station.
Well, like like when Uber had responded, they said that his account was being investigated, and because there was similar reports that were given. So apparently the other drivers also submitted reports, which is good on them. I mean, like the guy that had requested the ride, he had commented how easy it was to move stuff around with Uber. Yeah, because he's like, Uber drivers don't get pulled over. I was like, contrary to popular belief, I was like, we do. I was like, we are, at the end of the day, I was like, when that app is off, we're just normal people. I was like, we don't have some special place that we go. I was like, we just go to our house, or apartment, or wherever we live. Like, that's what we do. I was like, but we do get pulled over. I mean, we do, like, cops tend to turn a blind eye most of the time. They're like, all right, well, they're driving a drunk home. We're picking somebody up from the airport.
Right.
But if I pull a Yui right in the middle of the highway right here, I bet you there's a cop in there. He's going to pull me over. Yeah. And most of the time, you know, like, I've had passengers get arrested that I picked up.
Yeah.
You know, because a girl, it was her 21st birthday, she got in a fight at a bar. Called Uber to get her out of Dodge. I was that unlucky son of a gun. I go to pick her up, and it was her and her three friends, and there was like 4 different cruisers just staring at me while she's getting in. So before we take off, it's like, before we go anywhere, are any of you guys evading the police? And they're like, oh, no, let's go. And I was like, okay, we're going to find out about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
30 seconds later, they let me up. The cops were surrounding my car, you know, and they're like, Mr. Guerrero, you got a Kristen in here? And I was like, well, she's the one that requested the ride. That girl just started crying, screaming bloody murder, self-defense, and I was like, well, okay. He's like, Kristen, I need you to, you know, get out of the car. Well, her boyfriend was sitting in the back seat, and I had my Civic, so a much smaller car than this, and like, the boyfriend's like, I gotta go help her. I was like, man, I'm telling you, stay in the car.
Yeah.
I was like, don't say anything to the cops. You and your other 2 friends are not in trouble right now.
Yep, you'll just make it worse.
That's what I told him. He did not want to listen. He kept trying to open the door, and the friends were screaming, white lives matters and girls lives matter, and I was like, oh my god. I was like,
and the cops don't want to be messing with anybody else. I mean,
right. So the boyfriend, and he's about as tall as you, tried crawling out of my Honda Civic's window, the back window. He gets one leg out, he's getting the other one out, and I see 2 cops run over to him and tase him. He hits the ground, he starts crying.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm laughing. Like, I'm laughing hysterically. And the girl that was sitting in the front seat, she's like, this isn't funny. And I was like, oh, sweetie, this is hilarious. And the cop that was standing next to my window, he's like, I know you're probably losing money right now. And I was like, nah, man. I was like, I get paid for sitting right now.
You're leaving the meter running.
Yeah, I was like, dude, it's like 4.5 times.
Out of the car.
Yeah. And so I was like, take your time, man. And he came back about 30 minutes later. He's like, well, we're going to be taking Kristen to jail. I was like, all right, well, before you do that, can you ask her, you know, does she want me to take her other 2 friends home? I was like, otherwise they're going to have to get a different ride. I was like, because I don't get rides for free. And so he goes over to the cruiser to ask her, and she's like, end the effing trip. And I was like, all right. And I told her friends, like, hey, you guys got to jump out. And the one girl said in the front seat, she's like, are you serious? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm serious. I was like, I'm not going to give you a free ride, sweetie. I was like, you can request another Uber. I was like, and if I'm close enough, it'll come to me.
Right here.
And she's like, well, I wouldn't want to ride with you anyways. And I was like, all right. I was like, have a good night. So she gets out, like, slams the door. Well, then she, like, stomps back and opens the door. And she's like, I hate you. And then she slams the door again. I was like, have a good night.
Yeah.
I get half mile away. I get a pickup for them. I roll right up next to them. And I knew it was them. Like, I had confirmed the arrival, like, on my way there. So the timer was already going.
Wait, so did they take the ride with you?
No, I canceled on right next to him. I pulled up right to him. I locked all my doors. I wound up my window just a crack, and I was like, Samantha? And she goes, oh my God. And I was like, oh yeah, not tonight. I canceled it. Like, you gotta have fun with it sometimes. And I always tell that to other drivers. I was like, you gotta have fun with it.
How long have you been driving now?
I've been driving for 10 months now. I started back in September last year. And, like,
You do it full time?
I do, yep. And like right now is considered our slow time. Because in the summer months, college students are out, so they're all at home with their folks and doing whatever. And so in a couple of weeks, it'll start getting busier again because they're going to start moving into their dorms. But until that time, it's all daytime driving. Like if a driver wants to make money, they have to drive daytime. And like there's a lot of drivers that sit at that Wendy's across from the airport, and they're like, oh well, I can't make any money at night. And I was like, yeah, because there's not that much business going on at night anymore. It's nice weather, so people are not afraid to walk. I was like, and in downtown GR, everything is, pretty close together. So like, even if you take Ubers to get back and forth between, like a bar to another bar, it's not that long of a ride.
It's small rides.
Yeah, small rides. And so like, if you do the airport, you're getting these longer trips that go out, into downtown. Or like I live in Holland, which is 25 minutes south of here. And so they just recently launched Uber out on the lakeshore. And I was like, all right. And so for the past 2 weekends, like I go home on like a Saturday afternoon and go to eat dinner. Well, by the time I log into my app, I'm stuck out there the rest of the night because it doesn't get like super busy, but it's steady. Like, it's just kind of one trip after the other. And they're all very lengthy trips because to get around in Holland, it's distance. There's distance in all of those trips. And a lot of the passengers are like, oh, well, how long you been, out tonight? And I was like, well, I started in Grand Rapids. I was like, but now I'm out in Holland. And it's fun. Like, I love the social aspect of it because outside of Uber, I'm very introverted. I keep to myself.
Right.
And so as soon as I turn on the app, I'm like, oh, I was like, I get to be, the super awesome Uber driver.
That's
and
sweet.
And even with all the super awesome stuff that's happened, I've had some sketchy rides. Like I had my drug deal ride. I had my back window get busted out on not St. Patrick's Day weekend, but daylight savings. Well, I was waiting on my passenger to come out, and there was two guys that were arguing next to my window. It went from a verbal altercation into a physical altercation.
That sucks.
And he shoved it to my window. Well, I jump out of my car and I do like the Hulk Hogan thing. I'm like, and he's running. And he had that drunk fear, so he was fast. And I was like, okay, I can't catch this guy. And I'm trying to chase him down. And my passenger must have came out, saw my door open, hazard lights on, busted glass in the back seat. So she calls the police. By the time I get back to my car, there's cops all over, all over my car. And they're like, is this your car? And I was like, yeah, all my busted window glory. Well, the cop looks at me and he smirks to go, you get his name? And I was like, you think I got his name? I was like, you think I'd be here right now if I got his name? And the thing is, like, it was probably better that I didn't catch him, because I would wound up in jail. I was really angry about that. And luckily, it was only, I went to the junkyard and I got a window for $25, so it wasn't, a super huge thing.
It's such a hassle.
It is, and I had to.
It's such your property and your livelihood.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had to call it a night. I couldn't pick up anybody else. I told that girl, I was like, look, you can sit in my car and wait until your next driver gets here. I was like, but I can't drive you home. And she's like, well, why not? I was like, sweetie, you live in Ada and we have to go on the highway to get to Ada. I was like, once we get going about 50, 60 miles an hour, this glass is going to start moving around. And so my entire drive home, all I hear in the back window was just, for that wind sound. And I was like, oh. And, it's just little things like that. But I guess it's kind of one of the hazards you do run when you drive the late night crowd. Like you never see stuff like that happen during the day. I never have stuff like that happen during the day. I think the craziest I've ever happened was the day before the elections. I drove daytime for a little bit, and it's just at the DeVos Center over here. There was a lot of stuff. Like there was a Trump rally later that night, so there was people that were kind of outside protesting. And so when Uber drivers were driving, it was if you had if anybody thought that you were supporting a specific candidate that they didn't like I had people that were like trying to hit my car with their hand. But I was like, all right. I was like, it's going to hurt your hand more than it's going to hurt my car. So I was like, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, usually the daytime it's pretty cut and dry. Most people are, you know, just
You need to relax. I mean,
Right.
you get a couple of beers. That's the thing. Yeah, I love the big nights. I've had a couple of big ones, but chill the fuck out.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no sense.
Well, like when you think of like the young folks now, like when I was a teenager and I was drinking with my buddies, we did a suicide. We took a big plastic tub and put all the alcohol we could possibly find. I can't take this. I can't sing the next row here, but yeah. So we just find all the alcohol, and that's how you got drunk. And it was really bad for you. It tasted really gross, but you got drunk.
Yeah.
And now it's like I think of what some of these young people are consuming alcohol-wise. I was like, you guys are lucky you're not dead.
Yeah.
I was like, when I drink, I usually sit at home and I drink. And my girlfriend, she drinks tequila, but after 4 shots, she's good.
Yep.
She's done.
You got the buzz, and good to go.
Exactly. And I'll sit there and I can drink, I'll drink light beer all day, but if I start shotgunning it, then it starts getting kind of bad. But if I just pace myself, I'm all right all day. And that's the thing. Like I always,
Then you don't go out there and start destroying somebody's property.
exactly. And that's the thing. Like I've taken a handful of Ubers after I became a driver, and I've always been courteous to my driver. But like, hey man, I get it. I was like, shit gets messed up sometimes. I was like, but I ain't gonna mess up your stuff. But all right, man.
But dude, thanks for the ride.
Hey, not a problem.
And you have a good day. I hope you get a couple of good long rides.
Oh yeah,
today, man.
me too, man.
All right,
Take
have a
care.
good day.